The Impey EasyFit deck is a floor former which provides the gradient required in the showering area for drainage. The installation you're about to see is typical of a suspended timber floor. Ensure the floor is level, then place the EasyFit deck where required and mark the position. Cut along the line you have drawn using a circular saw set to the depth of the floorboards and place the EasyFit deck into the aperture to check for fit. You will need to fit noggins to support the edges of the cut floorboards and to provide a timber frame to allow screw fixing around the entire rim of the EasyFit deck. If you need to fit it to a slightly smaller area or cut it to avoid an obstruction, the EasyFit deck can be trimmed with a universal handsaw and drilled to provide additional screw fixing holes. At 22mm thick, the EasyFit deck matches the depth of most commonly used flooring materials and does not require any underboarding. Extensive tests have proved that the computer-designed cellular structure, compression moulded from high glass content SMC, can easily support over 300 kilograms, 47 stone, when secured directly to the floor joists. Once the EasyFit deck has been positioned, you can install the drain pipe. With the EasyFit deck, the location of joists within the floor no longer presents a potential problem, because it includes a unique patent-protected feature, which allows you to rotate the drain aperture to any position that will avoid the joist or any other underfloor obstructions. In this installation, we are using a gravity trap with a horizontal outlet for a tiled floor. However, alternative traps are available, including pumped drainage options, plus a complete range of drainage options for vinyl floors. Prior to connecting the waste trap, remove the dip tube and threaded waste fitting and store for replacement on completion of the installation. Once the pipework and trap have been fitted, secure the EasyFit deck and the rotating disc into position using the steel screws provided. In some situations, the existing timber floor may need to be overlaid with a tile backerboard or suitable plywood. If the floor is overlaid, then you will need to raise the EasyFit deck to the same level by inserting a sheet of the same material on top of the joists. Next, you need to secure the waste. First, remove the membrane clamping ring from the floor drain base component and place it to one side. This is very important, as you will require it later for clamping the tanking membrane into position. Using a hole saw, cut a 50mm hole in the centre of the floor drain base component. Place the base component into the recess in the top of the EasyFit deck and align the trap below. Now, fix the floor drain base component to the EasyFit deck by drilling and using the screws provided. Insert the threaded waste fitting into the hole and using the tightening tool, tighten into the trap below, leaving the tightening tool in place until the tiling has been completed to prevent ingress of building debris. For vinyl floors, the final stage is to fit the vinyl, and you have the option of a grey or chrome-plated waste cover plate. For tiled floors, however, the next stage is waterproofing. But if you are fitting the Aquamat 100 underfloor heating system, you will first need to create a small groove in the floor to accommodate the tube for the sensor of the heating system. This will need to be approximately 10mm wide and 10mm deep and should be lined with a strip of the waterproof jointing tape. Now you can start waterproofing. First, brush on a liberal amount of the liquid primer to the floor area, approximately 500mm around the EasyFit deck, where it will be screened by glass panels, plus up to 1 metre in areas where it will not be screened, and approximately 75mm up the wall. The average drying time is about 30 minutes. To fit the Impey waterproof membrane, you begin in the corner. Cut a 300mm length of the 150mm wide jointing tape and fold in half along its length. Midway along the length, cut the membrane to the fold line. Remove the top half of the backing paper and press firmly into the corner, bonding the tape to the wall and overlapping on the floor where you have just made the cut. Remember to remove the protective top sheet to allow a secure bond at the overlap. The edging can then be applied around the EasyFit deck where the wall and the floor meet, approximately 500mm beyond any screened areas and up to 1 metre beyond any unscreened areas. To make it easier, you can cut the tape into short lengths of about 1 metre. To join sections of the membrane, there must be a minimum overlap of 75 mm, and the protective top sheet must be removed from that area. Once the tape has been applied to all the edges, strips of jointing tape are applied to the floor to create an overlap for the main membrane sheet. When applying the main roll of membrane, you first roll it out. Without removing the backing paper, measure and cut to length. Remove the protective top sheet from the jointing tape and apply the membrane sheet in gradual, manageable steps, peeling off the backing paper and smoothing out the sheet as you go. Check that the clamping ring has been removed from the waste before applying the membrane over the EasyFit deck. Repeat the process, butting each length of membrane sheet together. Locate the drain position and, using it as a guide, cut around the external wall to create a hole for the waste. Press the membrane firmly into the outer edge of the drain to ensure a good seal. Remove a section of the protective top sheet and then apply solvent weld to the inner face of the clamping ring you removed before starting the installation. Slide the clamping ring onto the center ring of the base component, pressing firmly to secure clamp and membrane in position. Seal all joins and junctions of the membrane using the jointing compound provided, not silicone sealer, because this would damage the membrane. If you have any pipework that penetrates the membrane, you will need to seal around it using the special putty provided, and this can also be used to repair any minor damage that occurred to the membrane during the installation. The next stage, if required, is to fit underfloor heating. Impey recommend that you only use the Aquamat 100 heating system over the waterproof tanking membrane, as other systems may reach temperatures that could damage the membrane. Installation of the Aquamat 100 heating system will vary depending on the layout of the room and the position of the thermostat. The precise size, start and finish positions of the ends of the mat should also be carefully considered before installation. Apply the Aquamat 100 gradually, a section at a time, carefully removing the protective top sheet and the tanking membrane as you go, and when you reach the wall, simply cut the mesh, taking great care not to cut the blue wire, and turn the mat so that you can roll it in the opposite direction. Repeat the process until you have covered the required area. The sensor and tube should be placed in the groove you created earlier. The room is now ready for tiling. First, you need to set the height of the drainage outlet. If you are using tiles and adhesive up to 16 mm thick, firmly press the tiling frame into the top of the height adjuster ring. Or if you are using tiles with adhesive that are 16 to 26 mm thick, then the tiling frame must be clipped into the top of the 10 mm spacer ring and then attached to the height adjuster ring using solvent weld. You then set this into the floor drain base component. Place the edge of one of the floor tiles along the side of the drainage outlet and rotate the tiling frame to increase the height until the top edge is high enough above the edge of the tile to allow for the thickness of tile adhesive being used. Mark the position of the height adjuster ring in relation to the base component, remove it and apply solvent cement to the base and set it back into position, aligning the marks, and hold securely until it is bonded. Once set, the frame can be rotated independently of the adjuster ring if required. It is possible to use either large format or mosaic tiles on the EasyFit deck, but remember when using tiles larger than 50 mm square, you will need to create a mitre or envelope cut in the tiles from each corner of the EasyFit deck to the corners of the drainage frame to ensure that the tiles follow a pre-formed gradient. Alternatively, a range of decks is available which offer different stylish options, more suited to large format tiles. Apply the tiles using a flexible one-part cement-based tile adhesive. Do not use polyurethane or epoxy-based adhesive or grout, and do not use a ready mixed adhesive. And that's it. The simplest way to fit a luxury wet room floor with the Impey EasyFit deck.